Hey guys, Lancy here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again for joining me. We'll look into some more MTG market movers for the day. So we'll start off with Omen of Fire from Alliance. This card has had its spike twice in the last 2 years. The biggest one, as everything else, once I started recording in January about 18th, it started spiking, moving up like crazy. And now it's bounced back from a low of $4.06. And this is actually really interesting, which means that it's actually found possibly the next level where I wouldn't expect it to normally bounce up like this that fast. So there's a chance that it might flatten out. It's a reserve list card. It's never been printed before. But usually when a card takes a dip like this, it flatlines for a little bit, as you can see in the past. So once it comes back down, it flatlines. But it looks like there's someone that's expecting this card to take off again, or there's a group of people that are buying this card expecting the price of $4.06 to be actually a good price to pick it up. Now, it's up to you on exactly what you want to use this for. I don't think it's a bad card. I just don't think it's a great commander card. But a reserve list card from Alliance, this might not be a bad pickup at $4 or $4.06. Next, Solkanar, the Swamp King from Legends. We covered this guy a few times. He is spiking up again. Now he's actually gotten way more volatile. You can see that he started off at $80 on the market price. Now he's sitting at $87. Obviously, the average price is going to have a lot of manipulation to it. He has got two different printings. If you want a black border of him, you can get a nice colored one for 39 cents from Time Shifted. If you want the white border, you can get 50 cents from Chronicles. Obviously, the Legends one is a bit more rare to get your hands on. But if you're going to spend this much money, you might as well get one of the reserve list Legends cards, which might be 3 or 4 times the price, but at least they will never get printed again. And some of them are actually quite unique, unlike this guy who is not as unique. Flying Carpet from Arabian Nights. Once again, a amazingly hard to get card, but also way more expensive than it needs to be for not being on the reserve list. When I meant hard to get, it's obviously hard to get for Arabian Nights. It's been printed multiple times, the cheapest one being 39 cents from 8th edition, which actually looks better as well. Yeah, the art is fine for this one as if you really want to, but I think for $57, you can probably get a better reserve list card than a Flying Carpet from Arabian Nights. Glory from Judgment, not on the reserve list. It's been printed at least once before as a pre-release card, but this is one of those cards where it has not come up very often, and it's been slowly moving up as people just pick it up and it runs out and dries up in the marketplace. So, last year it was $1.29, this year it's $2.38, next year it might be $4, and then at the same time it could be reprinted at the end of that. So we'll see what happens. Selesnya Signet. So the Signets took a massive dump from about $5 all the way down to about $2. And no surprise there, the average price for the Signets is way lower than what the Secret Labs were selling for, even if they sold all 5 of them. They might go back up when someone decides that they want to bling out their commander deck, or when they realize that they only ever sold like maybe 100 of these Secret Layers because no one wanted to pick it up for that price because they just assumed that it was not going to be worth it. So I can see the value moving back up, but when the average price of these cards are about $1 and $1.50, and they get put into almost every commander deck that gets printed from a while back now, I just don't see the long-term value in it. Next, Serendib Ifrit. Okay, from Arabian Nights, it is half a man. That is actually creepy art. Moving up to $800. That's actually kind of crazy. Is it a good card? It is 3 mana for a 3/4 flying Ifrit that deals 1 damage to you at the beginning of your upkeep. I don't think it's that amazing. But once again, it is from Arabian Nights. There's an Eternal Masters version of this that cost 48 cents. A Jumpstart version of this that cost 36 cents. A Mystery Booster card that cost 39 cents. If you wanted that exact same art, you're not going to be able to get it for anything less than about $800. Okay, So yeah, if you want that art, you're out of luck. But for almost anything else, yeah, you can get it for like 50 cents. Flooded strands from Onslaught. Now, this is actually really something that I didn't pay too much attention to. I know for Khan's Attack here, I picked up a couple of flooded strands when they're about $15 each. Because I'm just like, these are fetch lands, they're $17 or $15 or whatever it was. It felt super cheap to me. So I picked up like 4 of them, I think, just to make sure that I could cover up a modern deck if I really, modern commander deck if I really wanted them in there. And I didn't realize what happened, but they took a massive dump again to go back to $15. But ever since 2021, starting in from like $15, they moved up to $37. So this one right here, which is from Onslaught, has moved up from what it was $36, and now it's sitting at around about $85. So $36 to $85. If you got any of these, you might want to hold on to them or start selling them, because I think there's going to be a peak at some point where the Khan's Attack here has to catch up with what's going on with the Onslaught, unless you're going specifically for a different printing of the art. Now, the same thing is going to happen opposite for the new enemy fetch lands that were printed, where they should catch up. They should probably drop down in price to just below $37. I would expect them to drop all the way down to maybe even the $20 mark, and then pick back up when everyone realizes that they're not printing anymore for a while. Aladdin from Arabian Nights. So once again, a iconic card. You can get him from Chronicles for 77 cents if you really want the artwork. But outside of that, the card itself is right now sitting at $139, which is crazy. Eye for an Eye from Arabian Nights. We covered this card in a couple of days as well. $66. And once again, 48 cents printing for the 5th and 4th edition. Zulaport Cutthroat, so moving up to $2. This card has been moving up 80 cents to $2 in the last couple of months. And it's a good card. You can get a few other printings of it, but each one of them is going to be about $1. Take you back $1. Not really an expensive card. Roaring Rats from Planechase. Now, I haven't seen this card before. When it enters the battlefield, each player discards a card. You can unearth it for 2 mana. Pretty cool card. Really good for emptying out everyone's hands. I think its peaks are just probably a buyer, because you can see that it just spikes every now and then when the average price just kind of stays stable at 78 cents. Blood Moon. Now, this card was moving up in a couple of different formats. Modern is back, at least in some way, so obviously a lot of these cards are starting to sell back up. And when the cheaper cards, when the expensive cards sell out, they're going to come and look at the cheaper cards to try to get some of the profits and lock in some value. So this one right here, which is a white bordered 9th edition, is the cheapest by a lot, but I think it just got bought out in the last couple of days, so yeah, too bad. Stomping Ground from Secret Lairs, a pain land. So, oh wait, this is not a pain land, it's a dual land. So one of these is going to be a good value no matter what. The average price for these is around about, you can get them for $12 for Ravnica Allegiance. Gate Crash, $12.17. This was selling for $10.86, which is obviously criminally low for being a Secret Lairs. $14.99 is starting to feel about the right price point. I would expect it to stabilize unless people really wanted this art, or it didn't sell out as much as people expected. Formation from Ice Age, a pretty cheap reserve list card. This card has also a very satisfying curve going on. So whether or not the curve comes back down, I actually expect $2 to hold pretty well. It's on the reserve list, never been printed before. You can get it for $1.39 on TCG. I doubt that. $3 makes a bit more sense. It is an okay card in certain decks where you can reuse a instant or sorcery to give it some cool abilities, mainly because it says draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep, which I think is really good for that angel that lets you just return anything that targets creatures, like spells that target creatures, back to your hand. Moving on, standard for the MTG Goldfish. So we've got a 7% gain for Omnath's Locus of Creation. Zorn has a 12% gain, actually a really cool card, especially if you're playing a token deck. Fighter class is moving up by 7%, but this is actually a very quiet day. The biggest drops, obviously, are all pretty low. I mean, you got Stormwing Entity, but that card's been weirdly dropping for a long time now. Mordekaiser, I'm pretty sure I didn't say that right, but from Forgotten Realms, dropping down by 8%. Glasspool Mimic, which gained a lot in the last couple of days, dropping down by 9%. And yeah, not much else. We did cover a few things from the weekly changes, but I can cover SC Cars Chariot gaining by 41 cents, so now sitting at $1.75. Ranger Class moving up by 26%. Prismari Command moving up by 15% to sit at $5.49. Biggest drops, Demi Leech dropping down by 13%. Zenitha Kingpin dropping down by 10%. Maybe a good time to start looking into picking this guy up for Commander. See how long he drops, or low. Yes, and Omnath Locus of Creation obviously has a huge gain in the last couple of days. Very popular for the elemental decks. I think in Modern, 5-color elementals. Yep, Modern. Even in Pioneer, Niv to Light, assuming that's not banned. I know that he was banned in at least Standard, so pretty powerful card. Big spike in the last couple of days. Moving over to Modern, Twilight Maya moving up by 25%, Blood Moon moving up by 17% to sit at $34.97. That's 9th edition Blood Moon. Isn't that the one we just saw? Okay, so yeah, you're not going to be able to get it for whatever price point that it said on TCG. That was very low. So $34.97, that feels really bad actually. Yeah, that's kind of a huge jump. Cryptic Command moving up by 10%. Biggest drops, Engineered Explosives, which gained a lot in the last couple of days, dropping down by 11%. Blood Moon. Yeah, so each version of the Blood Moon, you better be careful which one you get, dropping down by 12%. And Brushlands dropping down by 15%. Skyrim of the Earth Dragon dropping down by 11%. I think that was sitting at about $15 a couple of days ago, so it's dropping down to $13.39. Engineering Explosives has also had the biggest gain, so nothing special about it. 70% gain for that, and Dress Down still sitting at 335% gain for the week. So Cryptic Command has had a relatively volatile last couple of months, but still good gain from $19 to now sitting at $34. And last, Pioneer. So Revel and Riches gaining by 10% to now sit at $16.58, above the $15 it was sitting at. Alpine Moon, this card is crazy. Really, $9.32, a gain of 14%. This card has been gaining for a long time now. Outside of that, nothing really big to gain. As foretold, dropping down by 10%, but still sitting at a very high $15.34. And for the weekly gains, you're going to see a lot of preparations for the Innistrad set. So we're going to see what's coming out of it. But you got Relentless Dead still sitting at $15, Crypt Baker still sitting at $6, and everything else is kind of similar to what we already expected. Pitiless Plunderer, this card, like I said before, I paid $3 or $4 for my Portuguese version when the original was like $8 or something, and now it's sitting at $14.31. So Pitiless Plunderer could become one of the more expensive or most expensive uncommon cards if they don't ever reprint it. Anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. Oh, actually, no, sorry. Before I go, nothing too special about what's happening for the reserve list lands. Currently, it looks like they're just slowly inching up for at least some of them. And for cards like Badlands, they're kind of just flatlining. Unsure on exactly which direction to go, or unsure if people want to pay more for them. Anyways, I'll call it at that. Thanks again for watching, guys. Have a good one, and take care. See ya.